It's done. It is officially done. Justin Trudeau has lost the Toronto St. Paul riding. This has been a Liberal stronghold for over 30 years, and last night into early this morning, it was a tug-of-war battle. It was a battle of two Goliaths, apparently, and it came down to very few votes, but the Conservatives win, which means that Justin Trudeau has now lost the support across the whole country because he messed up a tradition for 30 years. What do you expect? Rome has fallen. In this case, Rome is Trudeau, and he's done. This is incredible, and I'm so happy to be able to deliver you guys this update. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video, everybody. Before we get into it, I do want to encourage you guys to smash the like button and subscribe if you haven't yet already. It does really help grow the channel. And once you are subscribed, if you can just do me a favor, click and tap that little bell icon so you can actually be notified of upcoming videos. That would be amazing. Let's take a look at the polls, not the by-election polls, but the federal polls. Conservatives are still sitting at 209 projected seats. I do think that that's going to climb. Now that's going to climb to 215, possibly even 220, because this is something that is unexpected. Like, people were expecting it, or they were hopeful for it, and it's going to tank the Liberals in a way that I don't think we've ever seen before, which is incredible, and I can't help but smile. Trudeau is still sitting at 70 projected seats, 99% projected for winning the most seats, and 99% for a majority government. So Conservatives are still sitting exactly where they were, but that is all going to change because this is insane. I mean, every media station in Canada is running with this narrative going, wow, this is horrible for Justin Trudeau and the Liberals. Nobody even cares about the woman that lost. The woman that ran in the Toronto St. Paul, she didn't even live there. Like, no, like she was a pawn in a bigger scheme, right? She was basically the like representation for what Trudeau is going to look like at the federal level. No one cares about her. I'm sorry, but that's just a fact. Let's take a look though at what CBC is saying and the outcome of this election. If you wanted to ever celebrate for Trudeau taking a massive loss, today's the day, ladies and gentlemen. Today's the day, because this is just fantastic news.
Don Stewart has won the longtime Liberal stronghold. This is a stunning result in a seat the Liberals have held for more than 30 years, one that's sure to ignite more questions around the political future of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. The dramatic vote count lasted into the early hours of this morning, with Stewart taking the lead with just the final batch of votes. Marianne's going to lead off our coverage this morning with this nail-biter of an outcome.
It really was, Heather, because polls closed at 8:30 p.m. Eastern last night. But that ballot counting, it lasted into the night, into the overnight hours. It wasn't until about 4 a.m. Eastern when we finally got this result that Conservative candidate Don Stewart won the riding of Toronto St. Paul's with a 590-vote win over Liberal candidate Leslie Church. The reason why it took so long for these votes to be counted is because there were a record 84 names on the ballot. The ballot itself was about a meter long, though many of those names on the ballot were activists running in protests of Canada's first past-the-post voting system. Now, Stewart's win means major change in this riding. As you heard Heather say, this has been a Liberal stronghold for more than 3 decades. The by-election itself was to replace former Liberal MP and Cabinet Minister Carolyn Bennett, who represented this riding for 26 years before retiring. But important to know that a Conservative candidate has not been competitive in this riding of Toronto St. Paul's since the 1980s. Here's more from Don Stewart last night before these results were released.
There's a message that our voters would like to send to Mr. Trudeau, and that's one of change. The only way to get that is by electing a Conservative government.
So change, that issue of change has been really at the heart of this by-election throughout the campaign, whether the result would signal that there's even bigger change on the horizon.
Yeah, leading up to this morning's result, all eyes were on this by-election in Toronto St. Paul's, many saying that this would be a referendum on Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. And we also know that many pollsters and pundits were saying that if there was a Conservative win here, this could put pressure on the Prime Minister to step down, though there's no indication.
This is exactly the narrative that people are going to be running with now. And it's not just you or me. It's going to be the mainstream media. It's going to be Pierre Poilievre. It's going to be all the Conservatives. The entire country is basically going, okay, you lost the stronghold. You lost your pillar, your foundation. Even though it was by 500 votes, even if Leslie Church had won by 500 votes, it still does not excuse the fact that you have had that riding for 30 years. And because of your incompetence, because of your narcissism, because so many people I guarantee you there were thousands of people that didn't even vote for the Conservative MP or the Liberal MP. They voted for not Trudeau. That is insane because technically it didn't really have anything to do with Justin Trudeau. It had to do with two different MP candidates. But that's how much Justin Trudeau is hated, and that's how little confidence people have in Trudeau anymore. Everybody is going to be calling for him to step down, for him to resign, and you're probably going to see it happen. I don't know if it'll happen this summer. I am very optimistic, though, because now everyone knows, look, dude, you're attached to this party. You're the leader of this party, and we're losing the biggest ridings in the country, the longest standing ridings in the country, because it's attached to you and your name. You have to go. And I'm all for it. I am all for it. But it's a bit of a double-edged sword because at the same time, if Justin Trudeau goes the distance and runs the next federal election, he's going to get absolutely washed. I mean, this is incredible. The fact that people would rather vote against Trudeau because it's F Trudeau means that there's going to be a massive rally against him for Pierre Poilievre. So if he's not the figurehead anymore, who knows what could happen. So that's kind of the double-edged sword. Is we want him gone ASAP. We want him gone yesterday. But if someone else comes in and actually is more likable, which could be quite literally anybody, Justin Trudeau is the most hated person and politician in Canada. That's one hell of a legacy there, buddy. Whoever steps in his shoes is likely going to get more votes. Even if it's one more vote, there's likely to get more votes. So that's the double-edged sword that people are also worried about. Nonetheless, today's a victory. Oh, man, what a beautiful day.
From Trudeau himself that he plans to do that. Here's more insight into that thinking.
I think that we're going to see that it's going to be very difficult for the Liberals to turn things around over the next little while. That doesn't necessarily mean, though, that it's an inevitable Pierre Poilievre majority government in a year, because while it's a lot to turn the polls by 20 points over a year and 4 months, you don't see that a lot. If it can get close enough that we're getting back to a minority government situation, then that is a different conversation.
And that was Eric Grenier speaking on Rosemary Barton Live over the weekend. But of course, a lot of questions about what a Conservative win in a Liberal stronghold like the Toronto St. Paul's riding would mean for other traditionally Liberal ridings, including the neighboring riding of Eglinton, Lawrence and Willowdale. So as we head into the eventual next election, all eyes are on what that means. But as you said, Heather, there have been some polls, national polls done showing that Canadians, they're looking for change.
Isn't this a beautiful place where you have now actual results, actual data to back up the fact that people are so fed up? This has been a conspiracy by the media and by Liberals, right? They're saying, no, it's just a bunch of people online. It's just a bunch of bots. Never mind the amount of people that show up in overwhelming numbers to protest against Trudeau or to show up to rallies to support Pierre. It's all fake. It's all fake. We're going to have to wait and see until they actually show up to, check a name off of a ballot. And well, let me just check my watch. That just happened. And I just can't help but smile. I mean, the fact that you have it's so beautiful and poetic as well. It wasn't even a landslide victory. It was thin, which means that there was still some people that supported. Justin Trudeau's Liberal Party, but not enough to win, or more people showed up to vote against Trudeau, even though it had nothing to do with Trudeau. It was just the MP candidate. It's poetic, and I'm very happy today. I hope you are happy too. Let's take a look at CBC's version of this as well.
Appears to have flipped, with the early results coming in for Monday's federal by-election in Toronto, St. Paul's. With more on the results, Jaden Lee Lincoln joins us from Forest Hill Village. Good morning, Jaden.
Good morning, Candice. Well, this is a huge upset for the Liberals. Unofficial results suggesting that Don Stewart, a Conservative candidate, has won this election. We have a graphic that we'll show you here just so that you can kind of see the numbers. 42% of the vote going to Don Stewart. Leslie Church with 40% of the vote. 100% of the polls now in. Now, keep in mind, this has been a red riding for nearly 3 decades. So for it to turn blue is sending a massive message to the Trudeau Liberals, who've slipped in popularity, according to recent popularity polls over the last few months. Now, a lot of time and resources went into campaigning for this by-election, more than you would expect for a by-election. Leslie Church was looking to step up to the plate as the next Liberal MP, and some big Liberal names and cabinet ministers were out here campaigning with her during her campaign. The Prime Minister even joining her at one of her campaign events at the end of May. Meantime, Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre was actually out door knocking with candidate Don Stewart. Both sides really battling it out for St. Paul's. Is it an upset? Or it is an upset, but is it a shock? Well, driving around, the signs were there, literally. A lot of neighbors saying there's a lot more Conservative signs out here this time around. And we spoke to neighbors saying, hey, I'm a Liberal, but look, I'm voting Conservative this time around. It had nothing to do with the local candidates themselves, more so what's happening back in Ottawa. Many saying it's time for a change. They don't agree with the Liberals' decisions in this latest term. Cost of living, inflation, controversies with the party has all seemed to be, some of the reasons for people to vote differently this time around. Now, many have been looking at St. Paul's as a barometer for how the Liberals might do in the next election, and it might not be looking so good. There's calls for Trudeau to step down ahead of the federal election. Yep. That's fall of 2025. He maintains that he'll be staying on as head of the Liberal Party, but many of the Liberals might be looking at this massive upset again. St. Paul's turning blue for the first time in nearly 30 years. They might be looking at this now and saying it's time for a change. Candice.
It's only fair to call an election, because if he steps down and someone replaces him, that's not what people voted for. When people voted for Justin Trudeau, they voted for Justin Trudeau. So it's only fair that they call an election and that we just get it over with. And you're going to see that narrative pressed really hard on not just mainstream media, but on within government themselves and on social media. It's going to be, we might get it, folks. We might get it. And just to give you an example of what the surrounding areas of Toronto St. Paul look like, this is it right here. This is Toronto St. Paul. It's the only one in that whole GTA riding that has actually flipped. And as you can see from the comment, it starts with 1. And that's exactly right. You're going to start to see a blue wave from coast to coast to coast. It's incredible. It does start with 1. And this one was so significant because now everyone who's going to be voting in their respective upcoming by-election now sees the power of Conservatives, and people are going to flock towards not only what is most popular, but what is best for the country. And it's unavoidable. It's unavoidable. The Conservative message, the anti-Trudeau message, the F-Trudeau message is everywhere. Not just on social media. It's on billboards. It's on, Conservatives are running ads. It's everywhere. It's in Parliament, it's press conferences, and it's come to the point where, you just listen to the Liberals talk during a press conference, and it's going to be a bunch of bullshit. It's going to be false. They're going to gaslight you, and you're not let down, because that's what they do. Justin Trudeau does it. Chrystia Freeland does it. They've all lost their minds, and it's going to be incredible. chef kiss to see them start to panic. In fact, Justin Trudeau is actually going to be doing a press conference coming up later today that is scheduled. But by the time I release this video, it won't have happened yet. So you're going to want to stay tuned for that inevitable update. And that's where we're going to end this video. I might end up doing a double header. Actually, I have a live stream tonight. What am I talking about? 5 p.m. Pacific and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard. Make sure to set your notification because I will be going live and we're going to talk more about this and we're going to review some of those press conferences that happen between now and then. I hope you're having a great start to your day just like I am. And since you are, you might as well take that great feeling, smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't yet already, and I will see you later on today for that live stream. Peace and love, everybody. Bye for now.